Nutrimetrics enthusiasts and fellow wellness warriors. We're really happy to give you this lunch panel today because Nutrimetrics, as you guys know, we've always been the fastest growing division of Market America. We are always that division that's bringing you the latest in science, the latest in technology, in the ever-growing health and wellness space, which we always said was going to be the next $1 trillion industry, and we're there. And when I started my own franchise a little over 12 years ago, and they had just started with Nutrimetrics, things were very different. We didn't know, right? We just sort of walked into our primary care and said, hey, what do you think about wellness? And a lot of them were really grumpy about it, right? And, I remember, Jane, we were drawing out oligomerythroanthocyanidins and trying to explain biochemistry and molecular structure. And today it's a little bit more personalized. It's more about the stories, the same stories that you're seeing on stage. The same story if you stuck around and heard from Larry Rogowski, who's always been a big deal in Nutrimetrics as a provider and a Nutrimetrics consultant. Has always really led the way. And it's those personal stories that make a difference. So I'm excited to share these stories here today with you from our panel of mental health providers. I think this fits in really nicely too with the 2 new products that we came out with the fact that our Trim Cafe is not working here, it's working here. Did you see that diagram? And the fact that our Probiotic 10 now has a lot more mental health claims as well. These are 2 products that you could go to providers like we have here today and talk to them about it. But we want to just, first hear from them to say, who are you? What attracted you to Nutrimetrics? How long have you been there? And then what products are you using? And what's the landscape of your industry? Things that you would need to know when you're approaching mental health providers. So I'm going to let my panel introduce themselves real quickly. If you guys just want to say, Jonathan, we'll start with you. Who you are, where you're from, and how long you've been with Nutrimetrics. We'll make this part quick.
Great. My name's Jonathan Kirkendall. I've been with Nutrimetrics, I think, like 6 or 7 years. I'm a psychotherapist in Washington, D.C.
Renee Carlson, and I am a mental health counselor, play therapist, and a health coach in Victoria, Minnesota, which is just west of Minneapolis. And I've been an owner for 2.5 years now.
Hi, I'm Val Myers. I'm from Bismarck, North Dakota, and I'm been in the company. It'll be 6 years in September. Hi, I'm Jen Everly. I own Creative Therapy in Valley City, and I've been with Market America for 3 years in May.
We'll start with you, Jen, and we'll go back down. So I want to hear internally first. Since implementing with Nutrimetrics, what have been the shifts with your patients, your clients, the families that you work with? How has that shifted since introducing the brand?
Well, for me, it really started with when I started getting the education and understanding what's going on with the body. It's like, it was training for me and a whole mind shift on how we look at mental health in the body. Like, I started asking questions differently and not just looking at mental health as a compartmentalized system like we used to think of it as, like I was trained as, but now as it's one system, that everything's working together. You have to understand the whole story, not just one system.
I think it's very similar back to when I was trained and as we got patients, that some of the hard patients that I have hope for everybody, and I wanted hope for everybody. And sometimes it would be just supporting the parents that we would get with our children or as our patients. And with this, I truly have hope for everybody because now even the hardest of the hard patients, I see changes with.
So for me, my story was a little different. I actually did my thesis 15 years ago on how chemicals affect the development of children. Thanks, ma'am. And so years ago, I felt just really uncomfortable giving kids prescription medications. So I've questioned it and I started to research it. And I actually was introduced to Nutrimetrics in Market America through Val because she knew how important that belief and passion was for me. And now what I'm noticing is that people are coming to me because they're hearing about what I'm doing and they're hearing, oh, there's another way, and they're putting the word out there that there's something different that we can do and we can change things to make it better for who we're working with and have a life time of success with something that's going to be easier for everybody to follow versus medications.
I love this question because you use the word shift, and it really is a shift. In 1999, I became a licensed therapist in Washington, D.C., and my supervisor said to me, my graduate program was the first graduate program in the United States which looked at the intersection of mindfulness and counseling, right? My supervisor in Washington, D.C. said to me, don't mention the mindfulness part. Everyone's going to think you're just too new agey. But now we know there's really strong evidence that mindfulness helps with your mental health. And now I feel like I'm on this second wave of looking at nutrition and looking at how the mind and the body are one unit. And it's been a real shift for my clients. I now get clients who come to me because of that emphasis on working with the body and nutrition. But I have clients who have said to me, can we just talk about my mother? Right? And like one client said to me, I don't know why I have all this anxiety. I think it has to do with my father and when I was a young kid. And I said, I think it has to do with the diet soda. So I have to train the shift is not just people finding me, but me kind of retraining my clients about the direction that science is saying can be really helpful for so what I say to people is that depression and anxiety are directly impacted by diet and nutrition. And diet and nutrition and exercise can support your body when you're dealing with trauma and grief.
Can I just brag on my friends here for a minute? All four of them have been making a lot of noise, not just in their own practices, but they've been making a lot of noise publicly on the internet. And I say noise in the best compliment way. If you follow Jonathan on Facebook, he does a minute of mindfulness and a quick, really nice tip that he's been very consistent with on his social media channels. Renee took it upon herself to first of all organize this panel, but also organize all of the mental health therapists that are in this company with a Facebook group where she's very active in posting articles, creating discussion, and I thank her for taking that as an initiative. Val is someone that I tune into on a regular basis. I send people to with her business Facebook page, where she will do everything that she does. You know, when we do like Wellness 101s, she's doing the same sort of things for her clients and patients and broadcasts everything live on Facebook. So you can hear exactly how she's using these products in her clinic, therapeutically, and all of those great testimonials. And I featured Jen, if you saw, in one of my Facebook Takeover series, but Jen has taken what I did from the nationwide health and wellness online party and created her own. How big is your group right now, Jen?
1,500 now.
1,500 people she has in her own Facebook group where she goes live once a week in a health and wellness lunch and learn. All four of these people are making noise and people are noticing. So I want to start again with Jonathan and go down the line and just say, so we talked about the shifts internally, but can we talk about the shifts externally? People must be noticing, your colleagues, your referral sources, and how are you explaining to them what you're doing in the industry? And as also on franchise owners who are building with our Market America unfranchised system, how are you then introducing them and getting them into the fold of what we're doing here?